me, Carol. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm doing my December wrap-up. So basically I'll be talking about all the books that I read this month. But before we get into that, I just wanted to explain some things and apologize. I've been extremely inactive on YouTube. I haven't posted anything these last few weeks. And I had a lot of things planned for December, don't get me wrong, but sadly we had a family emergency. My dog that has been featured in some of my videos, Gabby, she just suddenly got sick a week before Christmas, and we took her to the hospital and her medical exams just kept getting worse and worse. We thought we were going to lose her. I couldn't get out of bed. It was a really hard time because she's my childhood dog. She's my sister, and it really hit me. But a Christmas miracle did happen, and she came back home for Christmas, and she's here with us now. But we still have to take care of her, give her all the medication. So I haven't really had that much time to film videos, interact with you guys. So I wanted to apologize if I haven't responded to your comment, or if you expected some videos from me for this December. I'm really sorry if I let you guys hanging. If you tagged me any videos and I didn't do it, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I just don't have the time to do it yet. And it's just crazy, but she's doing a lot better. She just recently started eating again, which is great. So I'll keep you guys updated on how things go. So I just wanted to apologize and give you guys some information on what has happened in my life. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas or the holiday you celebrate. And hopefully we'll have a wonderful New Year as well. So even though all those things were happening, December was my best reading month of the year. I ended up reading 11 books, which isn't a lot for some of you guys, but for me it was insane. I thought I was gonna end up with like 2 books in my wrap up, but here we are. Without further ado, let's talk books. So the first book I read this month was a Christmas book because I wanted to get into the Christmas spirit, and that was Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. This is actually a Netflix movie. I did watch the movie before reading this, and it's actually 3 different stories. So we have the Jubilee Express, sorry if I said that wrong, A True-tastic Christmas Miracle, and the Patron Saint of Pigs. I did not enjoy this book. I thought the stories were boring. It didn't get me in the Christmas feels. I especially despised John Green's story. I felt like some of the jokes they were making were extremely controversial. I did not like how the boys treated the girls in the story. All of them are related to cheerleaders, and the boys just talk about them like they're objects. I disliked it so much, even though sometimes it is a sad reality. I thought maybe he could have done it differently in this book, so I did not enjoy it. I felt like the stories just dragged on. I didn't care for the characters. I was just like, okay, let me get this done with. And yeah, it was not my favorite. They all follow different characters, then in the end all the stories connect, but for me it was a big no-no, and I ended up giving this book 2 stars. The next 5 books of this wrap-up were because I joined a readathon called the Disney Channel Games Readathon, hosted by tons of my lovely booktube friends. I'll link my TBR video in the cards and down below. And we had different prompts, and we had to read a book in 3 days, which was a struggle. I picked huge books, so it was hard, but I was able to do it. My team actually won. Team Red, let's go. So let's do it. The first book I read for this readathon was a book that has been on my TBR for a super long time, Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I said that so wrong, I apologize. This book has been on my TBR for a super long time. It was actually a gift from my mom. She saw it and she was like, this sounds interesting, you should try to read it. When I mentioned that I was reading this book in my TBR, a lot of you guys said that it was a great thriller and that you had so much fun. And I have to say, I have an unpopular opinion. It's a domestic thriller that focuses on family, friends, you know, things like that. This story follows three main characters, Madeline, Celeste, and Jane. They're all mothers and all their children go to the same school. I can't even tell you the plot. Like, I don't remember. I really enjoyed the writing style of this book. I thought it was super funny, and I read this book really quickly despite its length, but the ending was not it for me. I thought that for a thriller to have almost 500 pages, the ending and the plot twist could have been bigger. So there's just one main plot twist in this book. And it did get me shocked. I wasn't expecting it, but I thought we could have had more plot twists. Like, I don't know, I was expecting something more. So in the end, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So it's just like a like it book. I recommend it. It's not my favorite. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. The next book I read for this readathon was The Diviners by Libba Bray. I read this because my friend here on BookTube, Queenie, I'll link her channel down below. She's wonderful. This is one of her favorite series. After I saw her passionately talking about the series, I really wanted to give it a go. So I bought the first book, and wow. This turned out to be super different than what I was expecting. So this book follows mainly this girl that moves to New York City because her family kicked her out of her house. So now she's living with her uncle, and they have a museum full of supernatural things. And all of these main characters have special abilities or powers, and they're considered diviners. And diviners are being haunted and being killed, and so we just follow that. I thought this was so interesting and so unique. I haven't read anything like this before. I loved the vibe of this book. It was creepy, it was fun. I just didn't really enjoy the romance. I thought the romance was a bit In the end, I ended up giving this book 4 stars, and I do want to continue on with the series. The next book was Allegiant by Veronica Roth. Oh no. I do have a reading vlog, link in the cards and down below. What can I say? What can I say about this? So, I just recently started reading dystopians this year, and one of the series that I read was Divergent. Divergent was amazing. Insurgent was a super letdown, and I didn't care for Allegiant. The whole time I was reading this book, I just wanted to be done with it. I didn't care for the characters anymore. I didn't care for the plot. I just wanted to finish it. So, to be honest with you, I don't even remember what happened in this book. Yeah, so Divergent follows this girl named Tris who lives in a society where everyone lives in factions, and if you can't be put into the factions, you're called a divergent. A lot of things happen. There is a movie out there for it. I don't recommend you watch it. It sucks. But this one was not good. Even though this book is super chunky, the plot twist happened in like 2 pages. And the ending just, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I did not enjoy this. Not my favorite, super let down. But in the end, I ended up giving this book 2 stars. If you want more in-depth thoughts, make sure to check out my vlog. The next book that I read for the DCG readathon was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, another book that everyone has been raving about, and a lot of you guys said it's one of your favorite thrillers. Okay, let's talk about it. So I was expecting this to be a thriller. It's more of a teenage drama. Don't get me wrong, the plot twist did shock me, but I was expecting something completely different. So this book follows this family who every vacation, I guess, goes into this like beach house, and the girl we follow, last time she went there, she suffered an accident. She doesn't remember how that accident happened. Her memory was repressed, and the memories start to come back. It's a very interesting story. It was just not the best one. So I went into it thinking it was a thriller, and for the thriller part of this, I would give this 2 stars. But thinking of it as a teenage drama story, I would give it 4 stars because it is really interesting and the plot twist does shock you. In between the readathon books, I decided to pick up The Twin by Natasha Preston because I had finished We Were Liars and I was waiting a little bit to get into the next book that I will be talking about soon. So I decided to pick up The Twin, and this book has been on my TBR for a super long time. Natasha Preston is one of my all-time favorite thriller authors. I kid you not. I have read every single one of her books in a day, and this was no different. I read this in a day. I just sat down and I couldn't stop. So this book follows these two girls who are twins, and one lives with their dad and the other one lives with their mom, but sadly the mom passed away, so the girl who used to live with her mom is now being sent to live with her sister, and it goes crazy from there because the sister is convinced that her twin wants to steal her life. And now I'm a twin, so reading this was super ultra scary, especially because I have a great relationship with my sister, so reading this was creepy. The whole time I was reading this, my heart was racing. This is what I call my worst nightmare. This is my worst nightmare in a book, and I think if you are scared of people not believing you, this is it. Like, this is scary. And wow, the ending got me so shocked. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. One of the best thrillers I read this month. The next and last book that I read for the DCG Readathon was A Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler. Sorry if I said that wrong. This was actually our buddy read for the red team, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a go, even though I'm not a big fan of romance. I was one of the few people of my group who actually finished this. I think almost everyone DNF'd it, and only 3 people, including me, finished it. So you can guess that it was not the best. This book follows... I have no clue what happens in this book. This book follows this girl who's in Alaska for vacation, and insta love, she falls in love with the bartender. That's all that happens. And this book is huge. And literally nothing happens. Nothing. I wasn't invested in the characters. I didn't care if they would end up together or not. I didn't care for their fights. I didn't care. I just literally didn't care. And I just read this because it was a team group and I wanted to win points for my group. So I don't recommend this one. It was boring. Nothing happened. I wasn't invested. So I don't recommend. Yeah. Next one. Oh, also I gave this 2 stars. After all of those huge books, I decided to treat myself to a childhood favorite, which was The Witches by Roald Dahl. My mom used to read this to me before I went to sleep. So this book is really like meaningful to me, and rereading it, I just don't know how I didn't get scared. Like, this is pretty creepy. So this book follows this little boy who has a grandma that talks to him about witches and how he should stay away from these witches because they want to kill children. He's then sent to a hotel with his grandmother, and the witches are in the hotel. Creepy. But I really did enjoy this. It just brought back so many fun memories. It was just cute and creepy and witchy. And yeah, I ended up giving this 4 stars. The next book I read this month was for my A Court of Books book club, a book club that me and Kayla Rose Reads host every single month. And for this month, it was Kayla's pick, and we read All I Want for Christmas by Wendy Logia? I don't know how to say that. So we do have a live show dedicated into this book where we chatted about it, and it was really fun. I'll link in the cards and down below. But this was not our favorite book. Spoiler alert. So this book follows this girl named Bailey who works in a bookstore, and she really wants to kiss someone under the mistletoe when Christmas Day comes. And so magically 2 boys appear, and she has to choose between Jacob and Charlie. The public of this book is definitely younger than we were expecting. Definitely like 10 to 15-year-olds, because this book was written in 2020, so it has a lot of TikTok references, and it's very fluffy, so definitely not like a steamy romance or anything like that. But because the book was so short, the characters had no development. The only thing we knew about these characters was that Bailey loves Christmas, Charlie's a British guy, and Jacob lost his dog. That's basically it. Like, they weren't developed at all. So I didn't really care who she ended up with. Again, it was just like, meh, sure, whatever. I did read this really quickly, and it was okay. Not my favorite, but I do recommend if you have a younger sibling or a younger friend you want to recommend a fluffy romance to. In the end, I ended up giving this book 4 stars, because if I was younger when I read this, I would have loved it. It's just because I'm more mature now and more grown up that I thought this was a little bit childish, but it wasn't bad in any way. And the next book I read, I wasn't expecting to read it. I am in my Pretty Little Liars binge watch. It's my 7th time rewatching the series, and I was like, you know what? I've read the 1st and 2nd book of the series, but I never continued with it, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a go. I know it's very different from the TV show, so I decided to buy, Perfect by Sarah Shepard and give this a go. So this book follows these girls who lost their best friend Allison. She just disappeared one summer and no one knows what happened to her. After her body was found, these girls start to get some text messages from someone called A, who actually sounds a lot like Allison and knows all their deepest, darkest secrets. So that's the premise of the book, and if you are a Pretty Little Liars fan like me, I did read like Spencer Hastings, and I did a whole analysis if the books that she holds in the series are just props or if they have any meaning to it, so I'll link it in the cards and down below. But Perfect was the third book in the series and I loved it. Even though it's super different from the TV series, I felt like this was so much fun. I ended up giving this 5 stars. I read this in one sitting again. The font is kind of huge and I just love these characters to death. So I couldn't put it down. So I definitely recommend Perfect. And the last book I read this month was the 4th book from the Pretty Little Liars series called Unbelievable. After finishing the 3rd one, I couldn't resist. I went to Amazon and was like, please deliver it as soon as you can. And it came pretty quickly, so I just had to read it in one day again. I ended up liking the ending of the TV show more than I liked the ending of the book, which is not bad. It was just different from what I was expecting. And I thought the TV show did a better job in it. But yeah, you guys, those were all the books that I read in December of 2020. Let me know down below which books you read. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this wrap up. I love wrap ups. They're my favorite videos to film and watch. So I'm so excited and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below to be part of this wonderful family. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!